Call to order the regular Board of Education meeting of September 11th, 2018. First off, today is September 11th, in remembrance of September 11th, or Patriots Day. September 11th, 2001 was a day many Americans will never forget. It was a devastating day as we lost thousands of our moms, dads, brothers, sisters, sons, daughters, husbands, and wives. Through the devastation, we were able to see the core of America and the American people. Heroic men and women running into danger to help. Individuals were there to comfort one another, be a shoulder to cry on, or just give a stranger a gentle hug. That night, the American people went to bed in a community bound together with resilience to overcome a love your neighbor mentality and a newfound pride with our first responders. Thank you to all our first responders and our military that keep us safe. Now, for everybody else, stand. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
One public comment, I would like to also introduce our board candidates that are in the room today. Richard Conn, Scott, and John Hummel. Now this is the first opportunity for public comment. A member of the public may address the board briefly for up to 3 minutes. Request to be scheduled.
To the Foundation for Saline Area Schools. We are back. We are excited about this year ahead of us, this 31st year of the Foundation. This weekend is our Hall of Fame weekend, so we would like to invite each and every one of you to the patio event on Friday night, starting at 5:15 through halftime, where we will honor our 8 new Hall of Famers of 5th class. So we're excited about that. And then Saturday night is a banquet and at the high school commons at 5:15. And even though tickets are closed, if you want to come, let me know and I'll get you. And so that's exciting, and we will have a wonderful 5th class, which we're excited about. Also, on Thursday, October 18th, here at Liberty School in the gym, we will be having our fall kickoff. We would love all of you to come. Invitations actually went to the mail today. Some of you have already signed up. And we would love to have you there. Go back to that 1 hour where we will have free food and a wonderful glimpse into different teaching grants, building grants that we gave last year. Students speaking, students coming around to the tables and talking, and a special speaker, Lucy and Lance. So we'd love to have you there.
So just to tack on to the foundation, if you're up at the high school, the new bridge is a really excellent space that was created for the kids. So if you get a chance to get up there, take a look at it. Thanks to the foundation.
Administration.
Just to note, obviously this is our first board meeting of the new school year officially once the students are back, and I continue to applaud the work that gets done over the summer. Our business and human resource, maintenance, and administration of offices that really take care of a lot of things that need to be taken care of before the start of the school year. I was thinking we launched BYOD Plus, Summit Learning, we launched Future Focused Instructional Designers, we opened the bridge area, and really we're able to do a lot of those things, continue to be a district that pushes for innovation and change, and we did so in a very smooth fashion. Hopefully we've been able to communicate effectively with the parents and students and staff about those things that are being done, and we're continuing to grow and learn. So very proud of the role this year, and thanks to the staff for all their hard work. Board members.
I'd like to do a quick shout out to the counseling staff at the high school. This time of year with kids changing schedules and things, I just never really thought about it until Kyle came home with all his changes this past week. So props to them.
Recommended motion to approve the agenda as printed. So moved.
Support.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Hearing none, motion carries 7-0. School resource officer.
At this time, I'd like to invite Officer Dave Range to the podium and talk a little bit about his role and his first few days with us as our school resource officer for Saline. As you know, it's been a priority that we have a safe environment for our students, and one of the aspects of having a community that has some school districts and one jurisdiction, and another building, literally our high school in another jurisdiction. We always felt like there needed to be a way for us to better partner with the Saline Police. Over this long period of time of our close relationship, Officer Dave Rin has been actively involved, and so I think his appointment through the Saline Police Department to us as a school has made a great deal of sense. This has been something that Officer Rich and I have talked about on and off for years and years and years, since Safety Town was back at Union School, and ability for us to have this collaborative partnership with the city. And so Dave's here tonight to talk a little bit about that, and to so you guys know who he is, and when you see him around, you'll know why.
Well, thank you. And again, my last name, everybody, I always go by Officer Dave because everybody pushes my last name. This has been an honor and privilege to do this. This is like my pinnacle of my career. I'm always looking forward to this. So again, just my background, this month's actually is my 25th year as an officer of the department. So, and through the years, like 96 is when I actually went through dare school. I don't know if any of you recall or remember Officer Herb Payne. He was actually my mentor, so I always wanted to follow in his footsteps. So, and then recently, in 2009, I was involved in the team, getting trained in that. So for the years, I've been, educating youth from kindergarten all the way up to 8th grade, and I'm going to maintain that too, having this opportunity to be a liaison officer, an SRO officer, plus also just being a presence. So it's kind of like getting back to the family. I mean, that's all the kids, the parents, even all the staff, just like a complete family. So I'm just so eager. I mean, it's almost to the point where I'm not overwhelmed, but it's like I want to be at every building all at once, but can't be everywhere all at once. But it's really an honor, and it's going to be a pure joy. So.
Seems like a natural fit. All the kids know Officer Dave.
Yeah.
Well,
Well, what's kind of scary is I have some teachers now that were former DARE students.
One of the things I tried to get a hold of Dave earlier today, I was going to do a little photo thing, and it was about 2:45, and he couldn't. He's, well, I'm monitoring the pickup and drop off. I will tell you, early in the year, as you well know, these traffic areas are some of the ones that are most concerning to us from a student and parent safety aspect. And so, again, it's just another thing where, obviously providing support during the day and throughout the year is going to be critical to, but also this idea of understanding the flow of school, that early in the year being present in these parking lots and these bus loops is really where the nature of when we talk about a safe environment, that's where the action is. And so I applaud Dave for making sure he's there. In fact, it was sunny today, I'm sure that following rain, we'll see where he's at.
Well, it was noticed too. I did notice on Facebook, a couple people posted about how nice it was to see you there and out there helping with traffic and things.
And as soon as I get my car all straightened out too, because right now I'm incognito right now. That's
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, recommended motion to appoint Samantha Hamilton to serve as the high school student representative to the Board of Education for 2018-19 school year.
So move. Support. I'd like to call Samantha forward. She's going to tell us a little bit about herself. I know you have your application that Mr. Raft reviewed, and take it away.
Hi everybody, I'm Samantha Hamilton, and I would like to be the student representative because I think it's important for students to be involved in the decisions that will affect our education. I've gone to Saline schools my entire life, and I think it'd be really interesting to see what goes on behind the scenes and what goes into the decision making. I'm extremely involved in my community and the school. I'm extremely involved in the Writing Center, and through that I see a variety of students that come from different backgrounds, and through that I'm able to represent all students rather than just a select few groups. I would like to thank you for the opportunity to represent my class. Thank you.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, motion carries 7-0. Welcome.
Welcome
All right,
aboard.
Samantha, now your chance to come on up.
Come on down. Samantha gonna get one of these cool.
Yes, yep. Yeah, we had to wait to make sure there wasn't any, nothing popped up in our social media profile of concern. Well,
We also have another board candidate, Susan.
Oh, yes. It's like, you're gonna make me talk again?
No. Okay, I recommend a motion to appoint Heidi Dennis to serve as the MASB delegate for the 2018-19 school year.
So moved. Support.
Wow, that's a good deal. I always need approval at home too. so that's cool.
Any discussion?
Before, not that I'm gonna say anything again, before or against Heidi, I'll let you guys make your decisions there, but, I know Heidi and I are gonna be presenting at the November, conference for MASB, about the compass, so we're excited about having that. Heidi submitted that, and we were selected, so I'm looking forward to that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, motion carries 7-0. Now, I did recommend a motion to adopt a resolution authorizing the issuance of the, and delegating the sale of Series 2 bonds in the amount of $13,500,000 as presented by Assistant Superintendent Warner.
So moved.
So this is the second series of 3. It'll be 13,000 or 13,500,000. Taxes will begin to be levied starting next summer, 2019, and all of the expenses and revenues related to this series will be captured in their own accounts. We cannot commingle that with our current series of bond series. The bonds will be issued in increments of $5,000 or more, and at a rate not to exceed 6%.
So this is just to present the offering, we don't know what the rate will be.
Correct,
yet.
correct, yeah, we have a due diligence call tomorrow, and then they set the rate later in October, and then the bonds should close November 1st.
What's our balance for the first series, how much have we left about?
Around 250,000 that's unencumbered.
Okay. So the timing worked out well.
The, much of the work that we did this summer, and, you know, we did turf, a few things, but was done with money that was left over from the initial series, and so, we didn't anticipate doing much, and so this has been an opportunity for us to get some work done, and still have a couple dollars to keep it on.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, motion carries 7-0. Series 2 bond work timetable.
I just wanted to, we'll do a, probably later this fall, we'll do a more in-depth presentation, but we are continuing to work, as I think you know, work with GMB and Clark Construction on the Series 2 work, largely the west entrance to the west parking lot to the high school. We're not only looking at resurfacing, we're looking at some redesign options that will allow that traffic to flow a little bit better. This is kind of combining the traffic study that was done, as well as some other improvements to try and create better flow in that area for parents and students as we move forward. And then also we're looking at renovations and are updating to the middle school science rooms, really creating those into better spaces for collaborative use, as well as certainly updating them and making them more flexible spaces. And that operates really that core of our current middle school is where those science classrooms are at. And those will be done. Again, we're planning those now. We intend to get those projects among some other smaller projects, including crosswalk and a couple other areas, to bid as early as December 1st. And so trying to get out as quickly as possible. If you've noticed, a couple of the county road projects in particular have been delayed because of their bid threshold in terms of the amounts that they have estimated, and it changes the scope of their project. So we're really working heavily with Clark to make sure that Clark Construction to make sure that our estimates are spot on. We don't want to adjust scope up or down based on inaccurate estimates. And I certainly feel for them because it's a pretty volatile environment right now. So we tried to compress our design and development schedule in order to be able to effectively hit that window of time and be kind of first out to try and see what we can get and be able to pivot if needed in terms of those costs associated with that. So more to come on that, but we've been working diligently on that. We have another meeting on Thursday with them to continue to review that. On that same note, I want to kind of redress that we talked a little bit about bonds earlier, and I do have a press release that I'll be sending to media tonight. I'll get to Steve, who's here, related to our refinancing of bonds. If you recall, back in July, we were able to refinance bonds and save the community and the taxpayers, and including myself, about $2.8 billion. And so we're excited to make sure people are aware of that, particularly as we get ready to sell our second series, so that I think is important that we continue to communicate to the community that we've given a great deal of trust when they voted yes on that bond back in 2016. And over the last couple of years, we've completed the work that we said we were going to complete. We've stayed on time and under budget. and by refinancing even more previous bonds, we've continued to reduce the overall debt burden. And so we want to continue that track record moving forward.
Are the arrow lights coming next summer?
Actually, the left-hand turn light at the corner of campus and industrial, we were out reviewing that. It's currently in design right now. The city of Saline is doing work on the industrial next summer through some federal grant dollars. So we are working, our design firm is working with their design firm to make sure that what we're doing is congruent. We intend to get city planning folks some information on it in early October so that we can be to the council in either late October or early November with the possibility of completing our work and getting that signal operational. Hopefully, maybe potentially even yet this calendar year if we don't have a delay in material. If not, first of the spring we'll be able to get that light up and have that there ready to use.
My guess is you're gonna see an increase over there on that with the construction. The genius was that decided they should do that traffic circle once school started at Bemis and Moon.
Yeah.
Those kids are all gonna have to be diverted.
They're not going to come Moon, they'll come down around maybe from up Ashford.
Yeah, it's the one.
Between,
There's no easy,
the
there's not
reality
any
between
easy way.
textile being worked, you don't want to be on Michigan Ave anyway because of traffic. Now that, I mean, the east-west corridors in that area, Ellsworth is busy, Michigan Ave is packed, and some of those other crossroads are tight.
That bridge on Thames is good.
So with that arrow light, is there a possibility, I was kind of calculating, but with Michigan Avenue industrial where the scooter issue was, the moped issue, that traffic coming across, people turning left coming down to the high school off Michigan Avenue, that, but no window at all, so that's, I mean, I guess another dangerous intersection, but with all the new hotel and all that other stuff, I think the city would be wise to do a traffic study.
Well, the city doesn't have to, we talked a little bit about that because we were talking not necessarily about the process of syncing those lights, and actually the city does not manage those traffic signals, those are MDOT.
Yeah.
And so the county, they contract with the county to do it, but they direct the county. So, for example, when they change the signals for the timing for major events, when they change them, I know the city has requested that they change them for certain windows of time, because you don't have to do it for the whole weekend, but they simply change for the whole weekend and leave it. So we did talk about that, but maybe something we'll have to request from MDOT for them to consider. The issue there too is that's an odd corner in terms of it's a long run because of the way that the roads are not perpendicular. So it's a dangerous left-hand turn.
But as development goes down east of the industrial off around Michigan Avenue, it's going to be worse and worse.
You're busier. No, I don't disagree. So, but we did talk about that. Once we get a little bit further along, we probably will call for a meeting, if for no other reason than to try and do some syncing of the timing.
Scott, staying with some other work that's going to be done with Series 2. I was at a tennis tournament for the varsity tennis team, and they kept asking about when are the courts going to be resurfaced.
Yep, that is on, yeah, I apologize, I didn't include that. That is on the docket. In fact, as Thursday, we'll get some modifications. So one of the things that we talked about using is a compressed concrete system. So if you're familiar with tennis courts, they tend to be asphalt, and they tend to not hold up over time because of asphalt. So they have a new process that U of M's use where they literally have, I think it's called tension-bound concrete, where they have pipes and conduits that go through that then have cables run through them that are held in tension. That it basically, as that cement cures, they actually tighten that and create a real hard surface that then lasts, literally decades longer than even normal concrete. And so we are proposing that. Obviously, budgetary or concerns. We're also proposing, if you were to look at our high school courts, there's essentially a lower or two sets, pushing that out a little bit, creating a space there, and having seating, poured cement seating in the between, so that you literally could sit in between the courts and watch a court from above, as opposed to right now there's just a little walkway there. So really try to improve that, make it a better spectator area, keep people from having to go on that lower edge around it. If you go further to the north or to the west, it's kind of swampy in there, and so the idea is to create some book. In doing so, we know we're going to do some retaining wall work along the edge of that parking area there. but we feel like it can make it a better space. We propose right now includes a little pavilion area. Then at the corner, there's one now kind of on the outside, but one more centrally located so that it would become a much better spectator area as well as just an improvement in the overall facility and certain things. So that is on the docket as well. Track resurfacing at the high school is also something that we're bidding out right now, in the resurfacing at the field house, the tartan surface, not the wood at the middle school, but that tartan surface. We've been up there, that's starting to fail, so that's also on the docket project. Focus on those areas as well.
Need to go next for this summer, like
No, yeah, we had a conversation with Clark Construction, like this is gonna be a busy, ideally, some of these things we can start earlier on, kind of thing. One of the things that's gonna come into play, particularly we do this bidding, we may need to be flexible with it. There may be scenarios where we would want to attack that high school parking lot as soon as we dismiss seniors. So, which could mean that, graduations at high school, we may have construction going on in that west side. So there's some things we need to work through, but I do feel like we may get to a spot with the potential of grabbing a couple of weeks, because if after the seniors leave, we were to shut down that west parking lot, we could live by for the last couple of weeks of school with much fewer parking, or a little fewer parking. So that grabbing them a couple of weeks could be the difference between the project on it now. So a lot of moving parts this summer in that regard. So I told Russ not to come tonight, get some rest. Be busy.
Board policy committee update?
Policy committee met a couple weeks ago, and we again attacked social media policy, which is difficult at best.
Well, we dug into social media.
We attacked it with a vigor unknown to man. And we still can't come up with a real concrete policy, so we are going to publish some guidelines shortly on best practices for social media use that we'd like to see everyone in the district follow.
One of the things that, and I'll kind of piggyback on that, kind of from a social media standpoint, is we did have we had a document that the policy committee reviewed that kind of was guidelines and kind of do's and don'ts or tips and tricks, and so we were able to bring that to the administrative team. They went over it and kind of, I think, kind of massaged it a little bit in terms of some of the areas. Also trying to provide me with a document that U of M uses. It's an older document, but it actually is very well done about kind of just general behaviors around social media. And what we found as we dove into this issue of the policy is really we're trying to manage and just talk about kind of guidelines and ideas around it, as opposed to really a real specific policy. Our AUP, our appropriate use policy for the use of technology, speaks to the true don'ts that we find to be things that we really want to manage in a I don't say a heavy-handed way, but in a real formal way. There becomes also these gray areas, and we want to just provide some guidance in those for our staff and our community in terms of expectations. In addition, from that, we want to continue to leverage it as an educational tool for us and as a communication tool. So we have tried to become more consistent along and right now from community education, Dr. Lodge and Mr. Shuko we've tried to develop a kind of a cadence to our communication around social media so that we as a district are not kind of doing a better job of modeling that. I tried to not model what not to do, and certainly got fate proved me to keep my mouth shut.
Jinx the whole team. And we just kind of generally talked about activities for the fall, policy reviews. We'll get our quarterly update policies soon, right? Yeah. So we are meeting again on the 24th, 5 o'clock.
Board Finance Committee update.
Yes, Board Finance Committee met last night, and we talked about earlier, we discussed the Series 2 bond issuance and the time frame on things. We've got to have the bond rating, that's due to be released October 2nd, and then the bond sale will be a week later. So that's what we're waiting for. All of it should be wrapped up, correct me if I'm not wrong, by November, it's like 15th.
I think November 1st is when they
November
actually
1st
close.
is when the
Yeah.
tentative bond closing,
Yeah.
right? And then some other things, closing transfers to the treasury. So should all be wrapped up by then. Everything should look pretty good from that point. We also just did a quick review of the 2017-18 bond updates. We had a slight adjustment to that. Nothing too particular. looked at preliminary numbers for our student counts. Again, nothing, whether you want to speak to that, but nothing looks too surprising right now. Final counts come for this first one. Early October.
First Wednesday in October.
In terms of how it affects the budget, nothing, we saw nothing that would seriously harm it or improve it dramatically. Pretty stable. That's about it. We'll meet again the first Monday of October, which would be, looks like October 1st.
Thank you. I need to recommend a motion to authorize the following items as part of the consent agenda. E, approval of the regular Board of Education meeting minutes of August 14, 2018. B, approval of special Board of Education retreat meeting minutes of August 21st, 2018. C, approval of Board Policy Committee meeting minutes of August 20th, 2018. D, approval of the special Board Finance Committee meeting minutes of August 6th, 2018. E, approval of payment of general fund accounts payable of September 11th, 2018 in the amount of $4,544,726.18. F, approval of payment of bond fund accounts payable of September 11th, 2018 in the amount of $118,225.73. G, receive and file September Curriculum, Finance, and Human Resource Report. H, receive and file 2018-19 student handbooks as submitted by Superintendent Grady. I, approval of early graduation requests as submitted by Superintendent Grady. Support. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Hearing none, motion carries 7-0. Next, schedule for the next agenda.
The next agenda, Dr. Lodge and I will be with a team of staff for the Ed Leader 21 conference in Regina, and so we are turning the meeting over to Mr. Ellis for a human resources related meeting. So we're going to have the new staff will be introduced, as well as information about our human resources department, programs and services we provide, and more about our staff.
All right. This is the last opportunity for public comment.
Good evening, Brian Bowes, High School Social Studies SEA President. First opening comment went too fast for me. We had our first governing board meeting yesterday. My leadership group wanted to pass on their thanks and commendations to building grounds technology for excellent rollout. Lots of great comments about how great the buildings look, as they do every year. The increased turnout in technology, big push at the high school with the BYOD. Lots of hands on deck by all the tech people in the high school, because there's 460 people getting online at one point, and that presents all sorts of complications, and very smooth, as well as the excellent support by building administration, K-12 in every building, being supportive and enabling success in our opening weeks, which is always challenging, as we have all sorts of students with all sorts of needs and challenges, all being acclimated with lots of transitions, which are often very difficult for a lot of people. So they wanted to make sure that you were aware of that and to kind of put that out there, because it was a great, in our opinion, a great start to the year. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Next Board of Education meeting will be held September 25th, 2018, at 6:30 p.m. at the Liberty School Boardroom. I get a recommended motion to adjourn the regular Board of Education meeting September 11th, 2018 at 6:59 p.m.
Support.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Hearing none, motion carries 7-0.
Investor board.